Greetings, beloved. My name is Reverend Michael Malcolm. I am the founder and executive director of the People's Justice Council, as well as Alabama Interfaith Power and Light. I've got my co-host here with me, Cara McClure. Cal is the Program and Policy Director for Alabama Interfaith Power and Light and the People's Justice Council. And from here on, I'll let Cal speak for himself. Cal, tell the people hello if you would.
Hello, everybody. I'm very happy to be here today. Really excited to be working with both PJC and IPL as we use the acronyms.
Today, we're here to introduce to you a series that we've put together called Conversations in the Park. In this series, we go around to different parks and we have conversations with different people that are in the communities in Alabama that are doing work in the communities in Alabama, as well as speaking with some of the people who we actually may have difference with. But we're inviting people to have conversations with us, and we want to sit down with them, and we want you all to view our discussions. One of the first guests that we had was Cara McClure. Cara is not just a guest for us, but she's also a community partner for our program that we call Energizing Alabama. This is a part of a larger program that we're doing, or a larger campaign that we're doing throughout the South, and it's Energizing the South. Greetings, beloved. My name is Reverend Michael Malcolm, and today I'm here with my co-host, Cara McClure. So today we have as our guest, Ms. Cara McClure. Cara is the founder and executive director of Faith and Works. I'll let her give a bit more of a description of Faith and Works here in just a moment, but I also want to rush to tell you all that she's also the co-founder or one of the co-founders of Black Lives Matter Birmingham. And right on the side of us, and you'll see it as we pan out to it, they've had a beautiful mural put down, a street mural that says Black Lives Matter. And I want to make sure I publicly acknowledge Cara because she is the architect for making that happen. She spearheaded and steered that project and even got it done while she was on vacation. In other words, that's a bad sister. So I do want to introduce her. I also want to introduce Cal. I'll let Cal have some words, and then we'll turn over to Cara, and we'll start asking questions from Cara. Cal?
Thank you, Reverend. So we're here today, as Rev said, in Railroad Park, and I think it is interesting and encouraging that 3 gems of parks in the Birmingham area, Railroad Park, Red Mountain Park, Ruffner Mountain, were formerly some of the most industrial, polluted, ecologically damaged areas around. And yet now they are our urban parks. That's a message of renewal and hope. That's why we're here, and folks like these are helping pave the way toward that future.
Absolutely, absolutely. So listen, I want to go ahead and hurry up and get to our guest because I'm excited for our guest today. And I want to introduce you to Cara McClure. And Cara, could you tell us just a little bit more about Faith and Works and some of the work that you're doing? And then we'll talk about the work that we're doing collectively.
Absolutely. I'm excited about the work that's been accomplished in our city and around our state over the past 6 years that I've been involved in activism. I decided to start Faith and Works, a statewide civic engagement collective, because I wanted to bridge the gap between the faith leaders, community leaders, and activists. I saw that there was a gap, and I realized, hey, we can get a lot accomplished if we all came together and focused on items such as voting rights, voter registration, getting the census completed, and a plethora of issue-based platforms. Let's start and a plethora of issue-based platforms. So I started Faith and Works. I'm also as he said, the co-founder of Black Lives Matter, the Birmingham chapter. I'm very proud of the work that we've been able to do to fight mass incarceration, state-sanctioned violence, police brutality, racial injustice, and environmental injustice. I'm proud of the sign that we that Mayor Woodson allowed us to put near Railroad Park. It says a lot. One of the reasons we chose Railroad Park is because we wanted to put it in a place to do the work of activism when we're not around. So folks who don't normally have to see things like Black Lives Matter, folks who visit the ballpark, folks who visit the park, folks who live in these expensive apartments right here by Railroad Park, have to come out of their apartments and out of their businesses every single day and see Black Lives Matter. They get to see our cry, Black Lives Matter, and maybe it'll provoke some honest and hard conversations.
So as we talk about Black Lives Matter, we start discussing the economic interests of Black lives and the disinterest that happens most times in our states, and in particular in Alabama. When we look at the energy burdens that we're facing in the state of Alabama, we have either the second highest or the highest, isn't it?
Second.
Energy burdens.
Second highest.
I believe it. We might have moved up to number one then. Either we were number 3 and went to number 2, or we were number 2 and we now at number 1.
By at least one report, we're the highest in the continental
Right.
U.S. Hawaii.
Right. And when you not just looking at the fact that we are already overburdened with energy, but also when you look at the fact that they've just passed a $1.1 billion project in the midst of a pandemic, when we're running around here with masks on, and people really are afraid to really come out the house, and rightfully so, that they are very cautious about coming out the house. We still don't have any moratoriums that says they won't turn off any of our utilities. So those who are already in vulnerable positions are now made forced to go out into dangerous circumstances just because they decided that they wanted profit. When in all actuality, the $1.1 billion project didn't even have, wasn't even necessary, or isn't even necessary.
Right.
You don't need it.
Right.
But they've done it anyway, and they've done it on the backs of the people who already hurt the most.
Yeah. And you know, one of the reasons that I ran for Public Service Commission when I did back in 2018, I had traveled the state of Alabama taking poor and elderly people to their doctor's appointments. And the doctor's appointments were always anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour away. During that long drive, you get a chance to have some really long conversations. As a matter of fact, you become family by the time you get to their appointment.
Yeah.
But they talked about having to choose between buying groceries, paying their utilities, or getting their prescriptions filled a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And that made me, the drive home was always real quiet, because I got to see really what's happening across our state. And then I saw the position Public Service Commission, you know, one of the most important agencies in our government that nobody knows about. Nobody had heard of the Public Service Commission because mainly they operate in secret, and they operate on behalf of the utility. You know, and I got to put one, 2 and 2 together, and thought, you know, we need to change this. We need folks. First, we need representation. There had never been a black person on the Public Service Commission. And then when I talked to a lot of the people in the Black Belt communities, their power bills were anywhere from $500 to $900, sometimes even higher. When the young lady I was running with had just built a beautiful home in Homewood, and her power bill was never over $200.
Yeah. And a big part of that energy burden is the poor insulation that people have in their homes.
Yeah.
And so the AC or the heat, whichever one you're running, escapes from your home, and so you wind up having to expend more energy just to stay comfortable, and for some, even just to stay alive. It gets deathly hot here in this state. It gets deathly hot in the state of Louisiana. It gets deathly hot in the state of Mississippi, not just because of the heat, but the humidity as well. And if you're stuck in the house with no heat or no AC in the summertime, you're liable to die.
Right.
and it gets cold at night in the winter. And if you're stuck in the house with no heat, you're liable to die. But yet and still, our Public Service Commission has made decisions not based on the public's interest, but on profit. Purely and simply, you know what I mean? What do you think about it?
Well, I mean, who is benefiting here? Southern Company shareholders. Who is paying the poor, people of color, people who regularly pay more than 10% of their income for a power bill?
Yeah. And it's not just enough for us to sit around and complain, because everybody can do that. We can sit around and we can complain and nothing gets done. And as a matter of fact, there's a whole lot of posturing as well as pontificating about the plight of people. And when it comes down to it, nothing's actually being done,
Right.
and we still stay in the same conditions. We've been fighting the fight of our and proclaiming the message of our Black lives being as important as others since forever, and since we set foot on this stolen soil, and yet and still we're still having the same fight. And that's because a lot of folk just talking about it, and they're just complaining and not doing anything, which brings me to another point. A whole lot of industry, a whole lot of institutions have put Black Lives Matter up. Even in Birmingham, we've got a Black Lives Matter mural. But yet and still,
Exactly.
the police still beating. The energy burdens are still the same. There's still no moratoriums. There's still nothing that says we're safe. We just have a sign. We just have monuments that have been pulled down. Listen, y'all finna hear Rev say something. I don't give a damn about no monuments. I don't give a damn about no murals.
But it's a start.
It is. But let me finish. I don't give a damn about any of that if nothing else is being done.
Yeah.
And if that means that we're going to start this dialogue and we're going to start correcting the errors in this society that oppress us as a people, if that means that, then that's a great start. But if your reward for killing an innocent person or an unarmed person, if your reward for going into somebody's house and shooting them illegally, if your reward for pulling down, for having these racist monuments up in the first place is to pull them down, then we are far short in our conversation, because that's not what we're asking for.
Right.
We absolutely need change. We need change on the social level as well as an economical level. Racism is economical, period. People are profiting off of racism. It's meant to keep us, meant to stay alive, and that organism that is racism is alive because people continue to feed it. And until we stop, until we change, until they change, because I you know what, I used to always we, and then I realized, I ain't racist. What I'm saying we for? Mm-hmm. We need to unite. I ain't the one that's disunited. Well, I'm united. Why should I have to? So no, until they stop being racist.
Exactly.
Until they do better, then things will change.
Yeah. But until then, there are some things that we can do to help.
I'd love to hear you talk about
some of the burden, and that's why we are doing things like the weekly food drives, making sure our folks are getting fresh fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing things like what we're here to talk about today, right?
Which is Energizing Alabama.
Woo! Let's do it.
Yes. So what again, what Alabama IPL and what Faith and Works have done, we've decided that we aren't just going to talk about it, we're going to do something about it. And so we're trying to meet the needs of our underserved and under-resourced communities and help them with their energy bills.
Yes.
It's not that we can pay everybody's energy bill, but we're going to try our best to do all we can to help as many as we can. Because at the end of the day, we want not only for you to be safe, we want you to remain safe. And part of remaining safe is not you putting yourself in harm's way just so you can ensure that you have the right to breathe fresh air, or you have the right to drink clean water, or you have the right to clean energy. So we have launched Energizing Alabama, and with this program, we gonna run it as long as we can until the money runs out. If you want to help this city, if you want to help the people in this city, help us to help them. Help us by reaching out to Faith and Works. Help us by reaching out to Alabama Interfaith Power and Light. Not only do we need resources, but we need stories as well. Just as we're doing this recording and we're going through and speaking with Cara and Cal, I also want to be able to hear from you all as the public. Let me know, let us know, let all three of us know how these energy burdens have disproportionately impacted you, how they've hurt not only your wallet, but hurt your morale as well, hurt your house, hurt your health. As Cara just said, we've got people that are having to make decisions on whether they're going to get groceries or whether they're going to pay their power bill, whether they'll be able to pay utilities or whether they'll be able to have medicine for the month. And that's a shame. And no one should have to live that way. And we need to hear from you all that are in those positions so that we can get it into the places that it needs to be. So we can get it into the hands of the legislators, those that make decisions. I often say this, and I'll say it again. I paraphrase when saying this, but Dr. King said it something like this. He said, I can't make laws that make you start loving me, but they can make laws that help you to stop lynching me. Let me say that again. He says, I can't have laws or make laws to make you love me, but they can make laws that keep them from lynching us. We can't make laws that change you morally, but we can make laws that protect the people. And it's up for the Public Service Commission to put the public back into the service. It shouldn't be about profit. It should be about planet and people. Until we get to a place where we put planet and people over profit, until we get to that place, we still got a whole lot of striving to do. This is Michael Malcolm, and today we offer to you love, peace, and light.